I'm not gonna sigh before giving an apology. I sincerely apologize for my referring to Birdo as he in this video. I, for one, am fully embracing of trans characters as some of my own friends are themselves, and if Birdo sees herself as female, I will refer to her as such. NES sequels were weird back in the day. Zelda 2 was a side-scroller, Castlevania 2 was a prototype for the Metroidvania genre, and Mario was busy committing mental genocide in Japan to give us another game. With the Lost Levels not leaving the Sunrise Land and Nintendo of Japan being too busy with the third game's development, we needed a plan B for that sweet Mario goodness. And that plan B was Doki Doki Panic. There are no poetry reading, romance, or psychological horror elements here. DDP was a platform game commissioned by a Japanese TV station using a Mario-esque prototype as a foundation, was based around a traditional festival, and also didn't get an international release. So Nintendo of America reskinned the 4 family members into Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Toad, added a run button, and made it culturally neutral, giving us the Mario game it was originally meant to be. It came out in early autumn of 1988, not long before Super Mario Bros. 3 would release in Japan. Funnily enough, in 1992, Japan would get this updated game under the name Super Mario USA. But why would anyone buy this? The Super Famicom was already out, Super Mario World was nearly 2 years old, and All-Stars was on its way. Did anyone really love Doki Doki Panic that much to the point where this succeeded? God damn, this might be the first case of an Ultra Sun Ultra Moon in video games. Even the less inventive Mega Man sequels still had new level design. This version would get a Japan-only sequel on the Super Famicom, but I'm gonna pretend it doesn't exist, because it doesn't for me. Like with the other games, I'll be using the All-Stars port as my primary basis for the review. And like with the Lost Levels, I highly recommend you play this version. Unlike the All-Stars port, you can't reselect your character upon death in the original, there's no save, and you only have 2 continues, and they start you at the beginning of the world and not the level. Granted, Super Mario Bros. 2 isn't quite as hard as the Lost Levels and the warp zones are no longer darks, but it's still not a walk in the park. Doki Doki Panic had a save feature as well, and while you don't need to beat the game 4 times to get the actual ending unlike that version, why can't we save over here? Holy shit, DDP had to beat the game multiple times for the real ending before Shadow the Hedgehog. The story is a little different this time around. In the original, the family worked to rescue 2 children who were kidnapped and forced inside a storybook by Wart, who had escaped defeat when the page was ripped out. Ah, Wart. A villain so impressive and memorable that he only ever cameoed in Link's Awakening since. In this version, Mario is a dream of the inhabitants of the world of Subcon begging for his help to free them from Wart. The next day, the 4 of them find a staircase leading to the world while having a picnic, and set off to do what the dream told. As such, we have 4 playable characters. Mario is the jack of all trades. No strengths, no weaknesses. I like playing as him the most because I'm a basic bitch, but I can't say the same for Luigi. He functions the same as in the Lost Levels, and while the new gameplay makes his traction more forgiving, I still don't like it. Toad is the fastest and strongest, particularly when holding something, but he can't jump high. He's really useful for certain levels, as you'll see coming up. Finally, Princess Peach is the weakest of the 4, meaning she picks things up the slowest, something really noticeable when fighting a boss. But it's okay, because she can get upskirted. Perving is fun, just ask my girlfriend.
Pardon you?
Peach's floatability can break the game at times. It only lasts a few seconds, but those few seconds can skip tons of platforming challenges and makes horizontal levels a lot easier. If you want a more comfortable time, you play the game as Peach. Regardless of what character you play as, you should immediately recognize the differences from the main formula. First of all, back-scrolling! What took them so long to incorporate back-scrolling? Second, the gameplay is almost completely different. Jumping on enemies, even if it's a super jump you can do by holding down for a bit, won't kill them. Rather, you pluck shit out from the ground and toss it at them instead. You can even pick up enemies and throw them at each other, which is pretty satisfying. You can also pluck out a red shell for tossing, a rare clock to stop all movement, a POW block to kill everything on the ground, 1-ups, and oh shit! Also in the ground are magic potions. These create doors to subspace, where everything is dark, the screen is reversed, and uprooting anything gives you coins. If you use a potion at the right spot, a mushroom will appear and extend your health bar. Aside from the occasional heart that appears after killing 5 enemies, meaning it's never there when I want it to, this is the only way to restore your health. This is also where the warp zones come into play. Using the potion on the right jars, this game's version of pipes, will allow you to warp to later worlds. There are 4 in the game, and you'll only get to use 2 at a time. The first one in 1-3 is easy and takes you to World 4. The one in 3-1 forces you to ignore common sense and takes you to World 5. And I'm free. The one in 4-2 is aids to reach without Peach and takes you to World 6, and the one in 5-3 that takes you to World 7 can't be reached without Luigi. Floating around the level are cherries, and if you get 5 of them, a star will appear. They don't last long, but fun murder is fun. There are a lot less levels than the previous games, especially compared to the other sequel. There are 7 worlds, 3 levels apiece, and the last one having only 2, but the final level is so big a gauntlet it might as well be 2. To finish the level, you need to grab a crystal ball and enter this bird mouth after doing so. If you pluck some coins, you have a shot for extra lives with everyone's 3rd favorite sin.
Let's go gambling! Aw, dang it! Aw, dang it! Aw, dang it! I can't stop winning!
Oh, by the way, 3rd reason for playing All-Stars? Let's damage our eardrums while gambling! Aw, dang it! Ah! These orbs are usually guarded by Ostro here, sporting a very bad neck condition. Yeah, the manual and credits get Birdo's name wrong, which is weird considering the description is right. Birdo is essentially this game's Boom Boom. She waits at the end of most levels and spits out eggs that you need to toss back at her. Since you see her so often, she really drives the strength differences between the characters home, especially with the variants. Pink ones only appear in World 1, 2-1, and 4-3 as a regular enemy/progression tool. Red ones occasionally spit fireballs and are the most common. Green ones only spit fireballs, meaning you have to use what's in the room. Fighting a green Birdo as Peach is a pain. Since she takes the longest to pick things up, she's very prone to the fireballs. It doesn't stop the 1 in 4-2 from being within the star's range. Get seized, bitch! Now, one of the things that didn't change from Doki Doki Panic are the enemies. We have all new foes to fight, very few of which do something other than walk and jump. Shy Guys walk, Tweeters hop, Ninjas walk and jump, Porcubo only walk and can't be touched, Bezos fly towards you. The enemies are kind of boring, but their placement can be annoying, like with the ball-spitting Sniffets, the fireball-spitting Panzers, and especially the Sparks. You're guaranteed to run into them in indoor settings, and they're everywhere in the last level. Another annoying creature is Phanto, a mask that chases you when you have a key to place into a door. It stops chasing you when you drop the key though, so you can use that to your advantage. Now, while these enemies are certainly out of left field compared to the first game, these characters would become Mario staples later on, like with Shy Guys, Pokies, and oh sh**! Bombs. The levels in general are very puzzle-oriented, whether it be climbing up a room with Pac-Man scrolling, then climbing back down with the key, or waiting for Birdo to spit an egg and using it to cross a large gap. Some of these levels can get incredibly maze-like, and boy am I glad the time limit isn't here anymore, because I don't know how anyone is supposed to know where to go in some of these instances. 3-3. Suppose you take this door and climb up the shaft only to find that you can't reach the top. So you grab a Ninja, place him at the wall, and super jump to the ledge. If this was your first time playing, would you know that this was a shortcut and the door would take you backwards? Yeah, the levels are filled with shortcuts that can be pretty rewarding, but you'll only know what's a shortcut and what isn't on repeat playthroughs. 7-1. You need to super jump to a bird and let it fly far to the left in order to proceed, then make sure you jump carefully so you don't backtrack by accident. Super Mario Bros. 2 can be decently hard, especially in later worlds, and I'm sad to say that it's not always in a good way. The controls have been improved, primarily in your ability to move in midair, but the acceleration when running is instant, and instant acceleration means instant movement, so it's incredibly easy to slip off tiny platforms to your death. Or get damaged in the case of water spouts. Water spouts? I can stand on the top but touching it hurts me? The f***? Better yet, the game loves to get really tricky with its platforming. The game just sort of expects you to use enemies as platforms, like with the Shy Guy in 4-3, or the Fish in 5-1, the Birds in 6-2, or Ice Physics! You see, this is the first game to really specify the different level climates. Super Mario Bros. And the Lost Levels also had different themes, but they were purely aesthetic and you could never really notice them in the originals. Super Mario Bros. 2 is more diverse. World 1 is grassland, World 2 and 6 are deserts where Diglett would thrive, World 3 has no theme, World 4 is ice, World 5 is night, and World 7 is sky-themed with Wart's Palace. World 4 is the first instance of ice physics in a Mario game, and I'm not a fan. Come on, it's bad enough that one of the characters is naturally slippery, and momentum can screw me over and make climbing things a bigger gamble than they should be. But now you're throwing ice into the mix. Great. Ironic that this level has a fire boss. Yeah, the bosses are much more varied than the first two games. Though that isn't a high bar now, is it? Mouser does nothing but toss bombs, and this fight can actually get pretty frantic. Explosions will happen every second and they can really mess with your timing. The first fight in World 1 is pretty easy, but the second fight makes him harder to reach and adds 2 extra hits. Tri-Clyde is fought in Worlds 2 and 6. If you watch the tie-in cartoon, you'll know it's his rap skills that let him spit fire.
Mash him, stomp him, crush him!
But you can use the soundproof blocks in the room to block it and stuff his mouth. He goes down in 3 hits, and while the second fight makes him a little harder to hit, it's not a grand ordeal. Fry Guy here is an even better rapper to the point where he's on fire himself, but Pac-Man scrolling makes him easy to hit and easier to dodge. After the third hit, he'll split into 4 smaller enemies that get faster with each one who dies, and I recommend grouping them together for an easy kill. Claw Grip tosses rocks at you and dies in 5 hits. Simple fight, but the speed of the rocks can catch you off guard. In DDP, you actually fought Mouser here a 3rd time. Kinda funny how the guy loses more and more relevance with every appearance. 3 fights in DDP, 2 in the Mario version, and Super Mario Advance, the 2001 remake and launch title for the Game Boy Advance, forces him to World 6, removing Tri-Clyde's second fight in favor of a robot Birdo. Finally, after Wart's absolute gauntlet of a palace and smacking around the last bird face with blocks, we reach the big man himself, sporting whatever this is. You see, one problem with painting over the original story is that the Dream Machine makes no sense to be here. In the original, it was used to control the letter and keep nightmares away, but Wart took it for himself and made it produce the enemies. He was stopped when the people filled it with vegetables, his one weakness, but all that background shit is thrown out in this version, meaning the Dream Machine is only implied to be behind Wart's power while also helping us in the last fight. What? Wart isn't that bad. I think the second fight with Mouser is harder. He only spits out bubbles that cover the same area and goes down in 6 hits. There are a couple of things that can make him tricky though. First, the veggies don't stay on the ground. Second, the bubbles can destroy them. Third, Wart's only vulnerable when his mouth is open. However, it's a far cry from the difficulty of his palace. The length puts every final level I've ever played in an 8-bit game to shame, and it's not even close. The Lost Levels may be worse in many regards, but at least the levels are shorter. Once he's done, Mario rescues the subcon inhabitants. They celebrate his win while punishing Wart somehow. Oh, that's blood! E10, 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 E10! You're given a tally of how many characters completed how many levels. I'm sorry, Luigi. And a reveal that it was all a dream. RIP. Quite a vivid dream, though. Even in the NES version, the graphics are bright, animated, and distinguished. More so than the original. The character sprites far outpace the previous games, and the box art lies to us. This was the first game for Mario to have blue overalls and a red shirt, a reversal of his color combo and one that would remain to this day. The music is still pretty limited, but also still pretty catchy. The overall theme is my favorite across the NES games, and holy shit, it just occurred to me. I don't think it would get overtaken for 2D Mario games until freaking Wonder. Huh. Super Mario Bros. 2, thanks to its distinct style, is the clear black sheep of the franchise, and a game that many find overlooked when compared to what came before and after. Do I agree?
The answer is yes and no.
When I first played this game, I wasn't impressed. I'll admit that it has grown on me since, but the gameplay that Doki Doki Panic introduced still isn't as engaging to me as the more old-fashioned, but refined formula of other Mario games. Doesn't help that deaths through momentum and knockback, occasional maze-like level design, or boring moments like the constant dirt digging for Worlds 2 and 6, use Toad for these, are present. I don't think Super Mario Bros. 2 is a bad game. It does enough right for me to view it as on par with the original, but only on par. It's a unique entry, and I mean that for better and for worse. Worse.
Hey, buddy, rise and shine. It's time to get up. It's a beautiful day outside, unless it's raining, in which case it's not.
God damn it, chat. Where the hell am I? It wasn't all a dream, was it? How's my next review going? Huh. I don't have an ending for it yet. Well, what am I gonna do for it? I guess I can always just cut.